Welcome to our 10-minute journey through the life and legacy of King Edward I of England, famously known as Longshanks. From his towering stature to his formidable military campaigns, Edward I left an indelible mark on English history. Over the next few minutes, we will delve into the heart of his reign, exploring his conquests, his struggles, and his enduring impact on the landscape and laws of England. Join me as we unravel the tapestry of his life, a tale woven with threads of ambition, warfare, and an unyielding quest for power. Edward I, the firstborn son of King Henry III and Eleanor of Provence, came into the world on the 17th of June, 1239. His birthplace, Westminster Palace, was a place steeped in the echoes of power, a fitting cradle for a future king. From his earliest days, Edward was surrounded by the opulence and intrigue of the royal court, a world of whispers and alliances, of ambition and duty. His education, entrusted to tutors chosen from the most learned men in the land, was a rigorous blend of martial training, statecraft, and religious instruction. He learned to ride, to hawk, to wield a sword with deadly skill. He absorbed the intricacies of diplomacy and law, the delicate dance of power between king and nobles. Even as a young prince, Edward displayed a keen interest in matters of governance, often accompanying his father to council meetings and royal courts. These early experiences, etched into the fabric of his character, would shape him into the formidable monarch he would become. As Edward matured, so too did the weight of his destiny. In an era where height was an imposing physical trait, Edward I stood head and shoulders above his contemporaries, a towering figure who commanded attention wherever he went. History tells us that he reached a height of over 6 feet 2 inches, a veritable giant amongst men in the 13th century. This remarkable stature, so unusual for his time, earned him the now famous nickname Longshanks. On the battlefield, he would have been a colossus, his armored form towering over the fray, a beacon of strength and authority amidst the chaos. His height was more than just a physical attribute, it became a symbol of his power and authority. And so, the name Longshanks became inseparable from the man himself, a moniker that captured the essence of his imposing physicality and the aura of power that surrounded him. Edward I's reign was marked by relentless military campaigns aimed at expanding his kingdom. His attention turned toward Wales, a land of rugged beauty and fierce independence. Edward envisioned a complete subjugation of the Welsh people. His armies marched, their banners snapping in the wind. The Welsh fought back with courage and tenacity. Edward employed new technologies like the longbow. Massive castles were built as symbols of English might. Edward's conquest of Wales was a brutal affair. With Wales firmly under his control, Edward I turned his attention north towards Scotland, a land that had long been a thorn in the side of English monarchs. Edward's ambition knew no bounds. He sought nothing less than the complete subjugation of Scotland, the crushing of its independence, and the absorption of this proud nation into his ever-expanding realm. His campaigns in Scotland were to become the stuff of legend, tales of epic battles and daring raids, of heroes and villains, of treachery and betrayal. The Scottish Wars of Independence, as they came to be known, were a brutal and bloody affair. Edward's armies, hardened by years of campaigning in Wales, marched north, leaving a trail of destruction in their wake. They were met by fierce resistance from the Scots, who fought with the fury of men defending their homes and families. Edward, a master of military strategy, employed a scorched earth policy, burning villages and crops in a ruthless attempt to break the spirit of the Scottish people. But the Scots refused to be cowed. Inspired by leaders like Wallace and Moray, they fought on. While Edward I's reign was defined by his military exploits, his impact on England's legal structures was profound. He understood true power lay in the strength of the law. Edward was a reformer at heart, driven to create a more efficient system of governance. He embarked on ambitious legal reforms, codifying laws and introducing new legislation. Establishing common law was a significant achievement, based on precedent and judicial rulings. This laid the groundwork for the English legal system today. Edward I's legacy as a warrior king is forever etched in stone, literally, in the imposing castles he built across the British Isles. These weren't mere fortresses. They were statements of power and dominance, symbols of his unyielding ambition, and testaments to his understanding of military strategy and architecture. His castles, strategically placed throughout his realm, served as both defensive strongholds and administrative centers. They were designed to awe and intimidate, to project an aura of impregnability, a clear message to any potential enemies. This is the land of Edward, and you are not welcome here. Edward embraced new ideas, new technologies, and new architectural styles. His castles were masterpieces of military engineering, incorporating concentric walls, multiple gatehouses, and ingenious killing zones designed to funnel attackers into vulnerable positions. But they were more than just fortresses. They were also palaces designed for comfort as well as defense. The castles of Edward stand today as enduring monuments to his reign, testaments to his vision and his ambition. Even for a king as mighty as Edward I, time marched on. The burdens of rule and the weight of his crowns took their toll. Longshanks' once iron constitution weakened by age and illness. The question of succession loomed large. His heir, Edward II, was a stark contrast to his father. On July 7, 1307, Edward I breathed his last. His death sent shockwaves throughout the kingdom. Edward I's reign left an indelible mark on English history. A ruthless conqueror and a wise ruler, he understood law and order. His impact on English common law is profound. His legal reforms laid the groundwork for enduring justice. He subdued Wales and impacted Scotland. His castle building transformed Britain's landscape. His castles symbolized power and authority. Edward I's final hours were a poignant echo of his life, a blend of relentless ambition and the frailty of human existence. Even as his body succumbed to the ravages of dysentery, his mind remained fixed on the conquest of Scotland, a final, unfinished symphony of ambition. His last commands, issued with the rasping breath of a dying man, were for the continuation of the campaign, a testament to his unyielding spirit, his refusal to accept defeat even in the face of death. He famously demanded that his bones be carried at the head of the English army, a grisly talisman to inspire his troops and strike fear into the hearts of his enemies. His body, ravaged by illness but still bearing the weight of his formidable presence, was prepared for burial, a ritual steeped in the somber grandeur of medieval funerary rites. He was laid to rest in Westminster Abbey, the traditional burial place of English monarchs. Edward VII's reign stands as a pivotal period in English history, a time of profound change and upheaval that shaped the destiny of the nation. He was a king who inherited a kingdom divided and left it more unified, though often at the point of a sword. His military conquests, though achieved through bloodshed and brutality, expanded the borders of his realm and secured his place as one of the most powerful rulers in Europe. His castles, those enduring monuments to his ambition, still stand guard across the British Isles, a testament to his strategic brilliance and his understanding of military architecture. His legal reforms, often overshadowed by his military exploits, were no less significant. His efforts to codify and clarify English law, to establish a system of common law based on precedent and judicial rulings, laid the groundwork for the development of the English legal system as we know it today. As we conclude our journey through the life and times of King Edward I, Longshanks, we recognize his enduring legacy as a monarch whose actions shaped England's destiny. From the rugged coastlines of Wales to the rolling hills of Scotland, his presence is still felt in the imposing ruins of his castles and the enduring principles of English common law. Join us next time as we explore more tales from the annals of history.